Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Drawing with Mr. Sepulveda. I'm Mr. Sepulveda, and on today's episode, I've got another student redraw. This artwork is coming from Sherwyn, from Mrs. Cassell's class from last school year. Sherwyn created a magnetic superhero, and you can kind of see it in their design that it's got a lot of magnets to kind of give you that idea, like, hey, this is going to be his or her superpower, right? And so whenever I go into redrawing a student's artwork, I go through a few steps. The first one is to obviously build up the sketch. I try to use as much information from their original drawing as possible. And in this case, I actually really liked the entire design that they created. And so I wanted to kind of mimic a lot of what they did. I did aim for a little bit more sharper wings, kind of making it a little bit more like solar panels, kind of make it a little bit more kind of like solar powered in a sense, just to kind of see if that might drive the suit's electricity or something like that. I also like the what I interpreted as a dinosaur tail, so I made sure I did that. And once I get like a good design, or at least in my mind, a good pose for this character, from the sketch phase, I'll go into my line work. Normally when I'm sketching, I'll be super loose, and it normally takes me about maybe, I don't know, 10-15 minutes just to kind of get a good idea. When you saw it earlier, I was kind of messing around with the wings, and I think that was my big struggle point. And I'm still not satisfied with the way they came out, and I'll explain that in a little bit. When I get to my line work phase, I usually spend a lot more time on this because I want everything to kind of be clean. But I do like making sure that my outlines for this are thicker on the outside, because I think it gives it that sticker feel. It makes it pop out more. And so you'll see me do that. I also add in a lot of detail lines. So like for the anatomy, with that little shape that it has for like the pecs and the abs, I wanted to make sure like the muscles were coming off of it to up towards the neck. I wanted to make sure the arms looked like we had some folding creases, we had some muscles, like little lines for details for popping them out, things like that. I was looking closely at Sherwyn's piece, and I was trying to make sure that I put in those little spikes that were on this character's helmet. And by the way, I don't think I mentioned it, but this character's name is Magneto. And Magneto will definitely be finding its way into my S-Verse Chronicle series, which is kind of like a Marvel Universe type of thing, but all my students created all of the superheroes and all the supervillains and a lot of the origin stories. All I do is just kind of retweak them just to make sure they kind of fit together in the same universe. So this one, Magneto will definitely show up. The thing that I told you that I didn't like about the wings, or at least what I did with the wings, is the fact that I really should have let the other wing break through the panel. I think that's the only thing I'm not satisfied with when it comes to this drawing, because I have the one wing closest to us popping out of the panel. I should have had the other one pop out as well. I think it would have given it a better feel. After the line work phase comes the coloring phase, and honestly all I did was color pick right off of Sherwyn's original design, and a lot of the colors stuck out really well. I did have to hue shift a little bit for one or two of them, just so I wasn't using the same color on top of the same color, like where the arm crosses, like those panels. I didn't want that to be the exact same, so I wanted to make sure like there was some definition. Okay. Once I get past the coloring phase, it's all about adding in a lot of the details, so the shading and lighting, because this is what's going to make the character pop. And so I'm putting a lot of the shadows where I believe they go, right? So anything that's like in the very background, like that back leg that's bent, or anything underneath like the tail, or anything underneath the magnets, underneath the horns, things like that, are where I'm going to end up adding my shadows. And then I convert it to a multiply layer. And then when I get to the highlights, I wanted to make sure like the face mask, I guess is what it is. It looks like glass, so I try to give that illusion with the color. And then I did a lot of rim lighting, even though I break the rules of rim lighting because I put them in areas that don't necessarily count as the rim or the outer side of the picture, but I think it ultimately works out. And then the last thing I do is just try to give like just the effects just to push the fact that he's a magnetic hero or villain, right? And just kind of touch up any areas, like I forgot the magnet on the wing. Well, here it is. I hope you like Magneto Sherwyn. I had a fun time redrawing it. If you guys would like to submit in your own artwork to be redrawn, please send it to the email down below. And as always, I'll see you all in the next video.